well. This is what we're making today out of book pages. I'm making more because I'm running low on them. I use them all the time. These are the old ones, the originals that I made. They look disgusting because they probably are. But these are coasters. And I don't like the shiny kind of coasters because the whatever you put on it, it doesn't really absorb. And, you know, like a tile or something, I don't care for those. I like the kind that are more like, generally what I'll use is paper towel. And I don't want to use a lot of paper towel because that's just wasteful. And not that paper's any less wasteful, but it just uses up something that would go in recycling or the trash. So, and a lot of times when I have my beverage or my, where is it? My water jar, my paint jar, I will set it on this. And occasionally I will wipe my ink pen off or my brush. You can see here that, you know, sometimes paint happens. But they're very useful and they're easy to make. You do need a sewing machine unless you want to glue them together or sew them by hand or staple them, which I don't know why you'd want to do that. So if you don't have a sewing machine, this is probably not a project you're going to want to do. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying a sewing machine for this. If you want a sewing machine, they're usually, you can find them at yard sales nowadays for like $5 or $20 because people don't know how to use them, and when they get a tangle in them, they throw them out. So, anyhow, you're going to need some books. I have a stack of books that I'm going to pull some pages out of. You're probably going to want maybe a stapler or a glue stick, something like that. Scissors. Thread, of course, if you're using a sewing machine. And if you so desire, some decorative type scissors. And I don't buy these at the store. I find these at thrift stores and rummage sales. I refuse to buy them elsewhere. So some of the ones I have are not that great, but they're good enough for what I do. But those are completely unnecessary. You could just use the regular scissors. And let's see what else. Sewing machine, ruler maybe if you want one. Oh, something to trace around. I use this. This is, you know, from a restaurant. So, traced around it like so. And then the other thing I used was just a lid in a size that I would like. So it's comparable to the square. You can just find a jar or something to trace around and you're good to go. Easy peasy. Okay, so I'm going through some books here that I have. I've got a couple of old encyclopedias and a kid's like math book or a school book. It has like story problems and illustrations in it. I've got a Greek book. This one is, I believe, yeah, that's the German one. It's an old German book. And I keep putting the coaster on it to kind of test how the size will work, because I want it to be mostly text. And that's a Greek religious book of some sort. That was a gift and some happy mail from my Germany sister. I'm just kind of going through and pulling out a few pages here and there of things that I like. And I was going to do some atlases, but I completely forgot to get out the atlas. This is some sort of engineering book. It's got lots of diagrams and graphs and illustrations and numbers, so that makes it kind of cool, especially that rusty paper clip there. This is the electronics book that I really like. It's looks like it was written in somebody's notebook. It's nice yellowed pages. This book I found something there. This is like a dictionary of difficult words, which I don't quite understand because not all of them are all that difficult. I ended up using this one for like filler. I didn't, I wanted 4 layers of paper, and I used that to add the 2 layers in between. This is a shorthand book I got at a book sale, at a library book sale, which I think will make interesting coasters and also like collage papers as well. I've sped this up a little bit because really you don't need to see me going through books this long. So I've got my pile of pages here. I'm going to find a few more from the children's book. And some Reader's Digest, because those are always full of interesting illustrations that you can use. I'm kind of careful about the words I put down because I end up reading my coasters then sometimes, so if you have a problem with that, you might want to be aware. Don't put anything down you don't want to read 100 times. That's the encyclopedia. Lots of good illustrations in there. And there's my stack. Now I'm going to just start tracing around my 2 samples. My coaster and then this lid is what I'm going to use for the round ones. I ended up not really caring for the round ones, so I probably won't make those again. But for this video I made a few. I'm going to just trace around it with a pencil, and then what I'm going to do is sandwich layers together that I like, and I'll put a good layer on the front and a good layer on the back, and then I'll put a couple of scrap pieces in between. And then I start out trying to use, you know, my encyclopedia pages, but then I end up using mostly the dictionary pages to fill in between. And it requires a little bit of, you know, if you want an interesting illustration on the front of your coaster or the back of your coaster, you kind of have to do a little adjusting to make sure that you're getting it in the right place. Or you can just slap things together in layers and sew around them. You don't have to be fussy. I might be being a little fussy here just because I wanted some kind of pretty ones. The last time I made them, I really did slop them together. But I only made a few and they served their purpose, so now I want more. And I'm using a stapler and some of them to kind of just hold the layers together until I sew them. On some of them I use a little glue. It just kind of depended on whatever mood I was in. And I'm probably going to speed this up because I think you get it. You just trace around it. I used 4 layers. You could use however many layers you want, but some of the papers are kind of thin and wimpy. So 4 layers seem to be the magic number for me. And it uses up a lot of paper, especially like if it's paper you're not going to use for anything else. Book pages that are, you know, ugly or full of words you don't really care to see. And that's me trying to count the layers of one of them to make sure it was like 4, because it's been a long time since I made those. I do actually use them. They're quite, oh, guns. Somebody's got their guns out today. I live next door to hunters. They come up on the weekends and waste ammunition. think I'll speed this up a little bit more. Oh, here I'm using a glue stick because, for whatever reason. Here's where I finally start using the dictionary pages to fill the in-between part. So 2 pages, 2 pieces of paper. Okay, I have a few pairs of decorative cutting tools, scissors here. Like, this is like a painting shears, so that's just a zigzag one. This is like the postal one. I don't know how well that one works. And this one is a scalloped edge. Most of these I just get at, I don't think I bought any of them new. They all came from thrift stores or rummage sales. Oh, here's an even, wait, that's, never mind, all the same. So with the straight stitching, I might do a little something more decorative. I'm going to trim my threads. Don't particularly like that. You could tie them also if you don't want to risk them coming undone, but they are just, excuse me, it's just paper, so it's not like it's going to fall off of you while you're wearing it or something. This is just to go under your coffee cup in the morning. So I decided with the straight stitching maybe I'd do a little bit of a decorative edge. But then I found a stitch that I really liked, and I don't think it requires a decorative scissors. But for these I'll do maybe a decorative edge. Like I did this one. This one was the scalloped edge. I'm gonna trim these. I really like this. This is a neat idea here. This is a Reader's Digest. It's like a sketch around a painting. That was the illustrations in the book. I saved all of them. Oops. This is the stitch that I like. This is my new favorite. My sewing machine is old. It's from the 90s. And it's, most of the decorative stitches on it never really worked that great. I was never a big fan of the decorative stitches anyway. But this one, this is, I believe, a blanket stitch. Or it's meant to look like a blanket stitch. This one I like. And zigzag is pretty good. I got a couple that work okay, but I'm not wanting to use decorative stitching when I sew. When I sew, I just want a straight stitch that's actually straight. This I got at a rummage sale. It's a book about electricity. I just thought it was really cool because it looks like it's written in a notebook. It looks like it's handwritten. And then the pages have aged very badly because they were cheap paper, I imagine. Because I don't think the book is that terribly old. I really like that one. That one's nice enough to give away. Okay, here's a quick little flip through, upside down. That's the German one. A little poem from a kid's book. Math problem. Electrical book. Upside down German. Shorthand. zigzag stitch. This is the blanket stitch. I think that's from an old encyclopedia or a textbook of some type. Reader's Digest illustration. A children's book. It's the mechanical book, the engineering book, that's what that is. More of the Reader's Digest. The electrical book. The kids book. And the shorthand, the electrical. Engineering of some sort. A Greek book, religious book. Vintage. All vintage. Fun stuff. Reader's Digest. The German book. Shorthand. Because it's cool. No idea what it says. This is another Reader's Digest one. Apparently I wasn't paying attention to which... Oh wait, yeah, it's almost straight. There we go. Something to use up some of your pages. And you could even tuck them in a junk journal if you wanted, you know, in a pocket somewhere, a little extra, a little freebie, whatever.